Welcome back to Cadwell Park for the Power Tour 2007. The Triumphs coming up for their first race of the weekend, and pulling up there into pole position number 7, James Dye. Outside of the grid there, Jack Sim, number 96. Then we see James Wainwright, number 26 on that front row, weaving his way through there, the blue leathers of number 19, Rob Guinan. Well, a shot there of a severely trashed Triumph. That's the bike of Michael Bomber Booth, who went airborne yesterday and really did make a mess of it. Well, really kind gesture by Pete Middleton. He's actually lent Michael his bike for this race. So it looks like a prop from the Archers there, doesn't it? Yep, Pete Middleton not out in this race because Michael Booth is riding his machine. And away they go, and a foot dragging there from James Dye. A wonderful starter, you know, he all the way through Super Teens. He was a great starter, and he still is. And there we are on board with AJ Hutchinson. Be interesting to see how AJ does at Cadwell this weekend, because he was a stranger, being a young Irish rider, stranger to virtually all the circuits they're racing on this year. But this is the second visit to Cadwell, so this will be the first time AJ has been able to get back on one of the pieces of territory that he learnt earlier on the season. And up the front, Rob Guinan there, wonderful out-braking manoeuvre into Chris Curve to get ahead of James Dye, and somebody's gone walkabout. Yeah, that's Ben Cater, one of the challenge runners, but he regains the playing surface. And meanwhile, back up front, we see Rob Guinan now down into third as they run down that sharp little hill into Mansfield. And it's the two Jameses up front. James Dye in the lead from James Wainwright. Rob Guinan tucked in there in third place. Then Steve Smith. And there we see Trevor Wall going through the shot in that almost like a yellow waistcoat. And there we see Ben Cater recovering from his rather grassy moment up the top of the hill. But it is James Dye, the championship leader from James Wainwright, leading down through Hall Bends. And there we see number 42, Michael Eggington. Michael back to solo racing after a couple of years off after a nasty accident at Brands Hatch. The leaders down towards the start-finish line once again, and it's head down, flatten the tank. James Dye from James Wainwright, then Rob Guinan and into Coppice. And very quick through there, James Wainwright, and he sticks it up the inside, and James Wainwright takes the lead from James Dye. And there we see AJ Hutchinson, our camera bike, dream wheel at the front, rib wheel at the back. But up the front, the checkered design on the helmet of James Wainwright hitting the front. James, who did pick up a win in a Super Bowl race earlier this season, and also won here at Cadwell, but was adjudged to have jumped the start. Would love to have a first proper outright win. Trevor Wall chasing hard in the challenge section of this championship. But yes, James Wainwright and Rob Guinan running up there as well in the top 3. Neither of them have taken an outright win this year in the series, and both of them are absolutely champing at the bit to do so. Once more, the field pouring down through Mansfield. And there, James Wainwright from James Dye, and Steve Smith up into third. He's got ahead of Rob Guinan, so James Wainwright now has 2 race winners right on his tail. And there, Rob Guinan losing out again because it's Michael Booth on the borrowed bike. There we see Jack Sim, but Michael Booth on that borrowed bike up ahead of Rob Guinan into 4th. And now we see a glorious shot around the hairpin down towards Barn from the bike of AJ Hutchinson. AJ chasing hard, and there the leader's ahead of him. He's not that far back, AJ. This is a good performance by him, and I think this is as high as he's run this season. There we see once again Michael Booth ahead of Rob Guinan, then Jack Sim, and James Wainwright still in the lead. James Dye protecting that championship lead. If he's not in front, he just needs to sit there and just clock up the championship points, while all around him they've got the hard work to do. Rob Guinan, he would love to win one of these. He's been there or thereabouts so many times, but he just can't get that top step of the podium. But another one who really wants it is James Wainwright. There we see a shot of Ricky Chadwick. He's the challenge runner for the older riders, those over 25, as he goes down into Mansfield. But James Wainwright, yes, he'd love to win one of these. There he is. And off the back of that group, we are missing Jack Sim. Jack Sim, who was right with them and was chasing Rob Guinan, is gone from the back of the group. So the leaders come up over the mountain into Hall Bends. There we see Rob, that's Ricky Chadwick behind him down the track. So Jack Sim at the top of the gooseneck. Yes, there he is. And good to see Jack is okay. He's up there with the marshals, the bike being wheeled into position of safety. So Jack Sim, a race winner last time out at Brands Hatch, but not today at Cadwell. The leaders across that start-finish line. James Wainwright leading well from James Dye. Steve Smith in third, just ahead of Michael Booth, who's on that Pete Middleton bike, the bike that he borrowed from Pete Middleton when his own bike was destroyed in a crash yesterday. And Steve Smith looking very ominous. He's right there in third place and closing on the two ahead. He's just sat there watching for any potential mistakes, and Rob Guinan desperately trying to get back in touch with them. He's slightly away from that leading group, but look at Steve Smith. Looks to run down the inside at Mansfield, and he does. He's up into second. James Dye back into third, and there we see Tony Hart just ahead of Josh Cahill, number 14. Josh, one of the young guns. Tony, of course, in the challenge section of the race, but up front it's all change as Michael Booth gets up into third, and Steve Smith challenging James Wainwright as they run up the mountain. But look at the speed of Michael Booth. He's on that borrowed bike and he goes past Steve Smith and into Hall Bends. Booth up into second. James Wainwright just needs to keep looking ahead. He doesn't want to look over his shoulder. There's a changing cast of characters back there. And we see Ben Cater, after his grassy moment, recovering in amongst that group up over the mountain, being led there by Tony Hart, number 34, and Josh Cahill. There, once again, Ben Cater. He was a long way back at the beginning of this race after running wide, but doing well to get back there as James Wainwright